thinking to myself that I'm going to miss this.
Oh, great. That doesn't sound good.
I was so angry with it. Honestly, so angry.
I still can't believe that you didn't get sent off for that.
That's the worst tackle I've done. No pressure.
Kieran Tierney comes back, he's playing. Don't worry about that.
I seen Scott Brown with the knee brace as well, and London dressed as a female police officer.
I like that you're thinking about if you've gone for the trouble, because they've won the League Cup already. You said for the league, and you said the Scottish Cup.
Welcome to the warm-up, brought to you every week by William Hill, title sponsor of the SPFL. Who do we have with us this week, Sam?
We've got two returning guests this week, Marvin Bartley, Scott Allan. How are we, lads?
Yep, all good, mate.
All
Better
good.
to seeing you.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, and
Not your
Scott.
pal.
This is my first time meeting you, isn't it? You
It is. I was ill the last time you were here, and you two probably see enough of Gordon
Is
as
there
it
a
is.
competition to see who can get the hat-trick ball first? Has Chris Boyd been on a couple of times?
Yeah, you'll both be
Returns for
in the
both
running
of
for a
these
hat-trick,
two.
I reckon, yeah.
Okay, well, let's make it better than the last time, both of you, if you can.
Thanks.
Try to progress a wee bit as we go along. Good to see you both in all seriousness, though, on the back of League Cup final week. I don't know if you heard there was like quite a contentious penalty decision in it. Anyone got energy to go again on it? Do you fancy it? Have you heard enough?
I've heard enough. I've seen enough.
You've been on holiday, so come on, give us your thoughts.
I actually watched it on holiday, believe it or not. So, it's a huge mistake, isn't it, at the end of the day? It's not something we want to see. We spoke about VAR coming in, all these other things. People have put in their kind of 2p's worth. A lot of people have got it wrong online in terms of what should happen. But, I watched the VAR show and, I think Willie did well. He spoke about it. He was honest, as he always is. He was open about it. And it was a mistake. It's one that shouldn't happen, though. And that's probably the most worrying thing.
Yeah, for me, it was 1,000,000% a penalty. I think what people have forgotten though is you still need to score the penalty if it was awarded. For me in the game, I felt the 4v1 opportunity with Iggy was a game-changing moment for me. If he picks the right option and Rangers go 2-0 up, I think it's a different game.
You were there, Sam?
I was there, yeah. The atmosphere was good. It's always good with the 50-50
You got
split.
any exclusive footage of the penalty incident that we've not seen yet?
Do you know what?
You
During the
could
game,
honestly add to that.
during the game, you can't really pick up on like what's happening as much as obviously when you're watching it. I don't know how it was like for you because you were in Oman, weren't you? What was the commentary like in Oman? Were they talking about?
That was like, can I say it? BN Sports was
Oh,
on,
okay,
so
yeah,
it was,
yeah.
Can I see it?
Who are the pundits? Who are the co-coms for BN Sports?
I don't know who the co-coms were, but obviously Andy Gray was doing the punditry.
Okay,
I think,
yeah.
Was Joe Hart across there doing that game as well? So no, it was decent. It was a good setup.
But obviously when you're at the game, like you can't really tell what's going on, so I couldn't
It's always
really
afterwards at the
see
aftermath.
properly. And I feel like even the day after the game, I didn't hear much about it. But then it was like the following 2 or 3 days.
You've been in another country.
You've been hiding.
Maybe,
You've been
maybe.
uploading stuff to YouTube and stuff to see what's
Yeah,
going
possibly.
on.
But
I'll be honest,
I felt like it did take a couple of days just to build up a lot of steam. Maybe
I seen
At
it
the time when it
straight
happened,
away. I
I
thought
said
it was a
penalty.
penalty. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was the exact same.
but probably for the wrong reasons, because now I listen to what Willie said. I thought it was a penalty because his foot was on the line and he'd been tugged. But it's nothing to do with where the position of his foot is. It's everything else. So at the time, I thought it was a penalty, but probably for the wrong
Let's
reasons.
try and look forward a bit then, in terms of what was learned at the weekend, because these sides will meet again very soon in the league. What was learned, can it be seen as encouraging for Rangers because clearly it was a close game by the simple fact it went to penalties, or does this just add more strength to the notion that Celtic have got the mentality to always go over the line?
think a bit
What
of
was
both.
learned going forward?
I think a bit of both. I think that's as competitive as we've seen Rangers. I think that was a big question. Even obviously the confidence they took off the back of Thursday's result against Tottenham, where they played against an expansive team. I think Celtic, for me, out of possession are a better side than Tottenham. I just think Rangers and Philip Kilmarnock, who has been questioned in terms of tactically, I thought he got it right. And then they find moments which we speak about in terms of the Iggy opportunity. It was unfortunate. It goes to penalties. It's a lottery. But I think Rangers will take massive encouragement. Are they anywhere near the Celtic side in terms of individually player quality? I don't think so. But if you've got a team that's organised and a structure, then you can get results.
What do you make of the shootout as well? Dessa's not taking one, Dowell not taking one.
I think too much been made of that. If Barton would have stepped up and missed, I think that becomes a story. But sometimes I think people just speak for the sake of speaking, rather. If Barton hits a good penalty, then he, which he does in the game, he scores.
Decent
It
penalty.
is what- yeah, exactly.
It's
yeah,
not
it is
next.
what it
See
is.
walking up for a penalty. I'll be honest. Like me personally, I've never ever enjoyed it. It's just a relief. It's a relief moment if it goes in. I have missed a few penalties in my time.
What was the worst?
One for Dundee against Hamilton, and it generally in the car park. And I remember at the time thinking to myself that I'm going to miss this.
Oh, great. That doesn't sound good.
Exactly.
It's
Why didn't you hand the ball over then? Was it actually in the shootout or was it during the game?
no, during the game.
Exactly. He wants to be the main man, star man all the time. I'm going to miss my
exactly.
placement anyway.
I know, 100%. But the pressure under the penalties is huge.
Okay, so talk me through your thought process where you're not confident, so you decide to try and put it high. That seems like a
Good
contradiction.
question, is it?
Is it
No,
like
I try to whip round it and wrap it, and if you know what we'll say, Marv, if you try and wrap it and you don't connect, that ball's going high, and that's exactly what happened in that penalty for me. So I always, when I see players walking up, I can understand that it's not for everybody. Penalties, like players do get nervous, and like I said, speaking of my own experience, I was very nervous setting up to penalties.
Did you ever change your mind? They say you got to just
I've
stick it in one.
changed my mind on the run up. Missed
Exactly.
I've missed a few.
I've bottled a penalty shootout before when I was at Hibs v Aberdeen at Easter Road, and I'll never forget. I think it went down to like the 8th penalty or 9th penalty.
Didn't
No,
fancy
it must have been the 8th penalty. So it was me, Effie, the keeper, and remember Thomas.
What
Adman.
a choice.
Yeah.
Right,
So the boy from Man City.
Yeah. So Thomas was about 15, man. We were like, me and Effie looked at each other, looked at him. He was tiny. He was like, "Nah, mate, you're taking it."
You are a disgrace.
Went up and missed.
Have you ever had one?
Yeah, only like in my younger days, man.
You
Real younger
made
days.
a young, inexperienced player take it
Listen,
because you didn't want to, and he
Effie
missed.
Ambrose, the goalkeeper, or him, he's from Man City. You got something about you. He's on a fortune as well.
That's a good
Cool,
point.
he scored a penalty.
I
And he
can't
missed.
believe you've dug up his wages for him to score a penalty.
That's
That
harsh.
is outrageous.
He missed as well, so
To
not
go out
just
the
that.
cup.
No, we went out. Yeah,
Look how proud he is of that.
I know, he's buzzing. Look at
it
him.
wasn't me that
That's
missed,
poor.
was it?
Very, very.
It's,
poor.
genuinely though, it's not any. Everybody thinks you just go up and you slide it in the
Should've
corner.
missed, yeah.
The way that the pressure, and especially occasion like Sunday, it does have a massive effect on it.
Yeah.
And the penalties in general were really good.
Before we draw a line under the game itself, do you think there's anything that can be learned, or do they all just come along separately, these games, and give you a different set of circumstances every time?
I think it's been a rare occasion where both teams can take positives going out of it. I think Celtic,
Even
probably
losing a cup.
even losing the cup, because I think that's the closest they've been for a long, long time to it. And you know, you can look at the incident that they will speak about. It's gone to penalty kicks. It's ended in the draw. So Rangers will take confidence from that. And the flip side of that, Celtic will be like, we weren't at our best, and we still won the cup.
Yeah.
So as I said, very rarely would these two teams meet, and both, I think, personally, can take positives, you know, going forward.
Forget the football. How relieved would the Celtic players have been to win it and head off to the Ali Pally for the darts? Is there
Are they down there? Are they?
Christmas celebration? You've missed all this because
Oh,
you've been on
You said
holiday.
you said you were going to get us tickets. In fact, for Ali Pally, didn't you?
You've missed this.
I don't really like you two, so I probably didn't say that.
fantastic.
You've missed the celebrations,
I'm going
but
on
you
Sunday.
would have seen it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I seen it.
Is that a relief if you get the result?
Yeah, it's like that. Marv will tell you when you're going on your Christmas night out and you've got the game. If you win that game, the Christmas night out, it's amazing. If you don't, once you get there, it's amazing. But you're in the changing room kidding on that you're fuming.
I've been sent off the day of a Christmas Day party at Bournemouth. Never forget it. Played against Morecambe. Got sent off in the first half. You know,
First half.
we were 2-0 down, and I was like, I need to lay a marker in. Like, and I made the tackle and just got a straight red.
Was it a harsh one, or was it you should have?
Nah, it was a red. It was.
Have
It
you
was
seen him play?
yeah,
actually,
it was
good
so
point, good point.
mistimed. And then I was like, oh no. And then got in the dressing room, and then it ended 5-0. And I'll never forget it. It was an old school
5-0.
coaches, so it wasn't like the doors halfway down. It was, you had to go to the front. Eddie Howe was the manager. So I'm thinking, we've got a fancy dress. Everything's on the coach, not even thinking ahead.
Tell me you're not dressed up,
Mate.
having been sent off in the first half.
Yeah, but what you meant to do? That's
So
what.
I had the bottoms of what I was wearing.
Which
on
was?
Michael Jackson, man. So I had like these, honestly, like these trousers, and then they were so short and the white socks on and that. And I was like, oh no. I was thinking, I need to walk past him. And he was just getting redder and redder and redder as people walk past him. I was like, oh, Marv, you can't do this. Still got off and still went. As you said, when you get there, you enjoy it. But that was horrendous.
Is that so that you could have a bit of time off the suspension? Was it a 3-match ban then? Or?
Yeah. No,
Just
it must
in
have
time
been-
for
it was
Christmas,
It was a straight red.
So you'd have got that whole New Year off as well. Then. That was ideal, mate. Nice. I like that.
How was the Michael Jackson costume?
Yeah, it was
in the end?
decent. To be fair, someone ripped it early in the night, so I was absolutely raging. But no, it looked all right.
Did you see the Motherwell players at the weekend? I know, like Andy Halliday's an old school pal of yours and stuff. Did you see if you watch it back, it's the quickest lap of honour of all time. So they beat Dundee United 4-3. They go and clap the players, but they're running round and then they run up the tunnel because they're on a 7 p.m. flight from Edinburgh Airport.
They made it though.
And they made it with 4 minutes to spare.
To where, Dublin?
Copenhagen.
Oh, I don't mind that, by the way.
So
That's-
they run off
impressive.
the pitch.
I love
I
that.
just got sent
And
off.
just gone.
And so someone did an interview, right? In the kit.
Yeah, like the shortest interview
straight-
of all time.
wearing the kit
Is
on
it
the plane?
going through your head? See on Christmas party day, Christmas night out day, as you're playing, is it going
Yeah.
through your head?
Aye.
I'll be honest, see when I got sent off, I was just thinking, at least I've not got an elbow to the face, like to bust my lip or not ruin my night out. That is so bad to say, but that's
vain.
That's what went through my mind.
The Bournemouth fans right now.
See, when you go into a side, your whole fine structure is based on the Christmas night out from the first day of pre-season.
Yeah.
So every fine
builds up to this moment.
and the
always
showers.
stops after the Christmas do,
and then
doesn't
as soon as the Christmas do is done, the fines just don't happen again.
Yeah.
So did you get fined for that red card to go straight into that night? Was there like a late fine for that Christmas night?
No fine. Actually, you know what? No fine from the club, fine from the players. I was a wholehearted player. It was just mistimed. I didn't mean it.
November's usually your fines are doubled. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, just in time for the Christmas night.
For the Christmas night.
Any Christmas night stories that you
They
can?
two have probably been on the same ones at
Would have
Hibs.
been at Hibs, wouldn't we?
Newcastle.
I was just like, Newcastle was
Dublin.
I didn't like Dublin, by the way. Didn't like Dublin as a night. Nah.
Not a Guinness man.
Nah, I didn't like. And then the Sunday, like, it was just, it wasn't for me. Not for me at all. I went once, I think, to that. I think I went to be McGinn's chaperone because he's on crutches. He did something to his knee before one of the Christmas do's. So, I went. I think that's the only Dublin trip I went on.
I seen Scott Brown with the knee brace as well in London, dressed as a female police officer.
There's got to be a picture of that somewhere.
Some of the things you see. In terms of stories, I remember being with one team. I won't mention the team. Went for as Scotty said there, Newcastle for a Christmas do. And
Hold on, if Scotty said there, it must have been Hibs.
No, but Scotty spoke about
Yeah.
Newcastle and
Don't
Dublin.
worry,
They're the
I've
two-
got you sussed out. Don't
They're
worry.
the two main places. And we basically had a table and everyone went off to dance. We came back to the table and there was some guys there and we're like, can you move the table? And they said no. So it got a little bit lively. But we got our table back.
Nice.
So
What do you mean? You got a bit lively? You can't give us a bit more than that.
Well, they got off the table in the end.
They were forcibly removed.
After a bit of Royal Rumble.
Without naming any names.
What positions in the team came and helped you out?
Stop trying to get people
Got
in
to be the
trouble.
centre
The bigger
halves.
boys, so the sort of boys that would defending set plays, you would say centre halves and might have the big
He's not a
target
manager,
man
is he?
striker.
And for the record, it was Hibs. Yeah, good.
It was a team I played for.
I'm glad we're in agreement. I'm glad. What about when you move into coaching at Livi? Do you go on the team night out with the players? Because you were
coaches,
involved.
Yeah, I was kind of
You were a player coach.
No, I didn't. I stopped. Do you know what? Towards the end, I stopped going on Christmas dues anyway because it was constantly Dublin. So I stopped doing that, and I think one got it didn't happen because Livi was there was COVID. But no, I know a coach that has been out with the players. Yeah,
I was going to say not necessarily just for Christmas, but was there times where coaches would go out, and if so, who is the main culprit for this kind of
pre-season
activity?
tour? That's the only time I've seen it away.
Yeah. Who would that
with
be?
a trainer?
Can we say?
I'm not
Not allowed
going to say
to
who he
say.
is. But
Tried.
the staff are on one table, the players on another. The players the staff like, see you later. We're going out. A staff member gets up, says I'm going with them. And off he goes. So
That's poor. That's got to be a fine.
I quite like the manager and the coaching staff mingling with the players. The odd.
I think every so often,
occasion.
surely it's
maybe
gotta be-
in pre-season. When
you're
you're
saying
trying-
that because you're a player coach and trying to say with the players, mate. When you were in your prime as a player, the
Like
last thing you want is
pre-season.
a coach out with you.
Yeah, but pre-season you're trying to form that kind of team bond. I think it's not a bad thing. We kind of loosen up and get to know each other, especially when you get new players coming in. Nah, you're not having that.
When you,
That's me trying to secure one for the summer.
Just wants a night out.
I was just thinking that you wouldn't have been happy if the coaching staff came on our pre-season when I first signed for Hibs, though. Imagine they came out of us then.
No, I know. That's a good point. Depends on the personalities, I
Yeah.
suppose.
I'm starting to realise we've spoken very little about football so
Yeah,
far,
it's
which
all
is fine. I
Christmas
mean, I'm
night,
comfortable
yeah.
with it.
I'm
but
happy
just
with
in
that.
case we should take a look
Circle
at
it back.
the weekend's fixtures. Do you
Yeah,
fancy
let's
it?
do
Maybe
it,
this
yeah.
is the one you look out for. You see who's suspended, who's getting themselves ready
Exactly,
for,
yeah.
for Christmas dinner.
There's a
Let's
few
take a look.
conspiracies out there.
Friday night football.
Friday
you cannot
nights,
beat it. Under the lights, Motherwell against Kilmarnock. You like that? You a fan of Friday night football?
Off the back of Copenhagen at the weekend.
Speaking of red cards as
Bit of an
well,
issue.
Killie obviously had another red card last week.
Does it add something to it, you think? Friday night?
Yeah, I
that's
like
like
Friday
a
night,
festive
yeah.
feel to it as well,
Especially when
doesn't it?
you're just watching, maybe not playing, but no, it's brilliant. Like you say, the Friday nights gets everything kind of going and ready for the weekend. So good game there as well.
Kelly were excellent at the weekend for me.
Yeah.
Obviously down to 10 men, but they defended really well.
Is that like a
and they were
Derek
still a
McInnes
threat.
masterclass?
It was.
Because there's been like accusations, take Ibrox and so on, that Killie have been like very unkilly at points. Is that prime example? You see, what was it, 84 minutes plus? You know, with a man
84
down.
minutes plus, obviously coming off the back of that heavy defeat at Ibrox. But for me, the defensive structure, I think Wright was fantastic for me, and still carrying that threat going forward, because Killie in that game could have maybe got a couple more goals. I don't know if that's because Hearts were so disappointing, but for me, Killie, that was that's Derek McInnes. That's what you associate with Derek McInnes' side.
See, when you're assessing Motherwell, is it that the league is just genuinely so tight, so people don't quite know how to judge what's a good, bad, or indifferent performance, or is everyone just getting more impatient? Because I don't feel like people are shouting from the rooftops that Motherwell are having a good season, yet they're fourth.
Yeah.
I'm going to head into, well, of course, can change this weekend, but pretty much heading into Christmas in fourth. You know, as that old cliche goes, you offer anyone connected with the club at the start of the season, you'd take the hand off, wouldn't you?
Yeah, fans are just more impatient. That's definitely what it is. Because I've heard people talk about Stuart Kettlewell should be losing his job because they've lost a couple of games.
3 weeks ago, Marv.
I know, crazy. And they sit fourth in the league. It doesn't make any sense to me. He's doing a brilliant job to be fourth. People keep talking about the standard and Hibs and Hearts and they're struggling. It doesn't matter. Motherwell are doing what they need to do.
Developing young players as well.
Exactly. Absolutely brilliant. One of the brightest prospects, if not the brightest prospect we have in the country at this moment in time, playing as well and captaining the team. So yeah, it's brilliant to see them, going so well.
See, just to reference previous episodes of the warm up, which of course you can watch on YouTube. Did you? One of my underrated moments was when Charlie Nicholas. Did you see him trying to suggest that to Lee Miller that Lennon could be turned into a striker?
Because Lee was talking about
he
how
just sort of sat like this, though, like I just don't see it. But he was trying to be polite.
He was, yeah. He was.
Watch it back. Seriously, what are the festive fixtures like to play in? I mean, you guys would have had examples. I'm training on Christmas Day and so on.
Yeah.
Hotel,
Christmas dinner with the lads.
Christmas Day. Done hotel Christmas Day a few times.
What's that like?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. You're sitting in your room in the hotel feeling sorry for yourself because everybody's obviously with their family. But then the next day when it's obviously it's game day, Christmas is out the window and you're ready to go.
I've had that though before, staying in the hotel, Christmas Day, as Scotty's saying there, and the manager doesn't turn up to the hotel.
He's got to be there as well, surely.
Of course.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
he spends Christmas at home.
At home and he comes in Boxing Day. Have a good Christmas, lads. Oh yeah, perfect, buddy.
So how far away would you have had to go on Christmas? What's like the furthest you've been from home where you're like, oh my God, I'm in
Livingston.
this place. You know what I mean?
To be fair, down the road.
Portsmouth, I was in Portsmouth.
Probably about 3 hours from home.
Oof. Yeah.
I've been before,
And you leave on Christmas Day?
Leave Christmas Day, yeah. So you normally train like kind of early evening, late afternoon, and then you're on the coach straight up to the hotel. So you can still have, boys with kids and stuff, can still open a presents with them and have the morning with them. But yeah.
Is that one of the best things about when you retired from playing? You can actually just sit back and enjoy Christmas a bit more?
It sounds horrendous, but I didn't miss after doing it a couple of times. It just became a normal period. It was good to see everyone else kind of celebrate, but I didn't actually care that much about it because once you're training Christmas Day and you got a game Boxing Day, you need to go and win like that. That's it. That's ultimately it. So I didn't actually care too much for it. But now, listen, being retired, it's brilliant. Now I can enjoy it.
Do you have Christmas dinner like as a team?
Yeah. No, I've not done that. I've been at home and then had to go to the hotel obviously a wee bit later in the day.
Right, okay.
It all comes back to the fixture the next day. If you win, then it's a great Christmas. If you don't, then you're obviously sitting there feeling sorry for yourselves, sitting in a hotel room on your own. But for me, that's part and parcel of football. I think as a player, the Christmas period it's a huge step in your season. See if you can wriggle your way through that and pick up good results. It sets you up for the rest of the season. You can go on to do really good things. So I
ever just lose discipline entirely and eat far too many pigs in blankets and stuff in Brussels sprouts and then roll on to the pitch?
Though, by a manager before.
Been forced?
Yeah, on Christmas
I'm
Day.
sure you really protested.
No, do you know what? Honestly, when I used to play, I wasn't a massive drinker, especially beer. It's like, no, you have to have a beer. And I'll never forget the next day.
Sounds a bit strange.
Day before Boxing Day game.
It's one of those things want to bring us together. It's like we're in the hotel.
Is there at any point during the season that you'd ever have a beer before a game except for on Christmas Day?
Exactly.
That's not Eddie Howe, that is it?
That can't be.
That's not
we
that
got
manager.
pumped the next day. I think I actually got subbed. You'd be able to find
in Scotland or England.
I'm not saying. I think I got subbed at half time, man. And it was one of those when I got subbed because the manager started kicking off at the players and I didn't think it was all down to us. So I stood up and said something and then it got to about 14 minutes and 59 seconds and he just turned around and said, and you're off. Just as many Bashini's were on, ready to go back out for the second half. I just got subbed. It was at half time. But yeah, got forced to have a beer on the Christmas day.
He's only played for 2 clubs up here, so I think we could figure that out by the end of the show who it was. I think we'll manage it.
A few down the road.
Do some digging.
Fancy the chances. What about as somebody who kicked a lot of people and probably got sent off a lot? We'll bring you in and as the expert. Derek McInnes has been actually on here and he was talking about the red cards at the time and they've not really gone away. And I know he's frustrated at some of the decisions. I don't think he'll be too frustrated at the previous one. But that's 7 in all competitions. I don't know if you saw the stat. They've actually committed the least fouls in the league.
It's crazy.
But it's just
But they've had 7 red cards. Again, if you're a manager, what did he explain to us? He said he's been like fining players for even pulling each other in training and stuff like that.
That was in October, he said that.
But ultimately,
It was in October.
well, how do you make
You
it
know
go
what?
away?
There's actually nothing you can do to make it go away. There isn't, because the last thing you'll do is turn around as a manager and say, you need to be watching your tackles, and then there's a 50-50 to be won, and the player pulls out, and then you go through and you can see the goal, for example, go through the player after the game. You said, well, you still need to watch my tackles.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things you need your players to basically tackle better, but there's nothing as a manager you can do.
And that Robbie D's one at the weekend, like you were saying about some of your more full-blooded tackles, it was like 5-6 minutes into the game. He's probably up
Not
for
even
it.
dangerous
He doesn't mean to do
area
it, and he's like, do you know what I mean? Just gone in, maybe a bit too keen.
I didn't think there was massive intent there. I think
No.
It looked like a wee bit for me that was a bit of a slip at the same time.
It's a bad one though.
I know,
I know,
it catches him right now.
It looked bad, but
it's not real intent.
Yeah.
To obviously hurt the opponent. But for Kilmarnock, what do you do? You can do your fines all you want.
It's
But
actually
in
the
the,
second least amount of fouls, just in case anyone gets upset that I've got the stat. Is the point still stands? What's the worst tackle or incident you've ever been guilty of? What are you most ashamed of? Are there any you think that was
keep
was
you up at
naughty?
night, any?
Yeah, a fair few to be fair. But
Too many.
There's been one, and I hated this. I remember someone smashed me. A guy called Marcus Bean. He was at Brentford. I was playing for Bournemouth, and he smashed me in a tackle. And we used to always have it every time we played. And I remember I was on the floor, and I kind of like kicked out at him. But I kicked out of him and like hit him in the head, and I felt absolutely horrendous, because it was one of those things that I was a young player. He'd obviously been getting the better of me in the match. He'd smashed me. I was like fuming, kicked out. And as soon as I hit him, I was just like, oh no.
Did you get sent off for that one, yeah?
No, I didn't
No, you
actually
didn't?
get nothing.
Didn't get sent
I
off.
got a foul for it because he had
fouled
fouled
you,
me.
yeah.
And I think he might have came off, like genuinely. I remember he spoke about it like a couple of years after. And I just said, mate, I'm so sorry. And he's like, listen, it's one of those things. Like, I play the game on the edge, so do you. But that was a bad one.
I don't know. I mean, there's playing the game on the edge.
And there's kicking
there's
someone in
like
the head. That's
a
assault.
couple of
Any up here?
non-league up here. Do you know what? Hang on a minute.
are we going to dip into training first before we even get to the
Do you know what we are
games?
going to dip into? The man to my left, Livingston v Hibs, goes into the box, runs across me, dives to the floor. I don't touch him. Gets a penalty kick, by the way. At this point, Livingston were 2-0 up. Yeah, scored the
And
pen.
then you took it.
Scored the pen, right? And then I was so angry with him. Honestly, so angry. So then I remember he did post-match. It was, I think, for the next match, and someone had asked him about him, and he said, I felt a presence behind me, and that's why I went down. That's exactly what he said. I could not, I was so infuriated that he had dived. We were friends until that point. So.
Did you dive because he was near you?
No, there was a presence. I felt a presence.
There's a presence next to him right now as well.
I felt a presence behind me, so that's why I went down.
I remember that.
Yeah,
That's
I bet
terrible,
you remember
mate.
it. Awful.
Pre-VAR, I take it.
Yeah. Oh, that'd have been
of course,
turned.
yeah.
Definitely.
Speaking of which Rangers player did you absolutely smash? You would have been sent off in the VAR era when you were a Hibs player. Jordan Rossiter. You ever seen that?
I'm not sure if I've seen that
Outrageous.
tackle.
I still can't believe that you didn't get sent off for that.
That's the worst tackle I've done. No question.
You never seen it? Can we find a way of playing that?
I need
Hopefully.
to see it.
No,
I need to
don't
see
put
this.
that on. That's not a proud moment.
That would be on the VAR review.
Have you had a
That
few-
was a 5 each game, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
5 each.
Incredible.
Have you had a few reds? Who's got more reds out of you two? Probably Marv.
Surely.
I've had one.
But a couple
Is that just
overturned though. Do they count as still as reds?
Yeah,
or-
for me, yeah.
Had a couple overturned pre-Willie. Had a couple of mine red cards overturned.
One for me.
Hey, go on then. Since it's a bit of a Hibs loving, I don't know how we manage this. Aberdeen against Hibs. Clearly things are looking up a bit for your former team. Encouraged. What's the thought process going into this week?
Yeah, I think there's definitely encouragement. For me, Hibs are starting to score goals now. I think it's 9-4. They've got, which previously David Gray was coming under a bit of pressure in terms of creative players. So Hibs are in a good place. I know first half might have not went the way David would have wanted to, but the response is good and they're picking up wins now. So tough game away to Aberdeen though. Aberdeen obviously looking to find that form again, but I think Hibs will be confident.
I mean, Aberdeen are not where they were at, a couple of months ago, Marvin. So does that change things? Maybe look at the diary a couple of weeks ago and think this is a really, really intimidating fixture. But Hibs have picked up and Aberdeen have dipped. Are they coming a bit closer?
Yeah, as Scotty said there, I think Hibs will go into it full of confidence, knowing that if the Aberdeen has turned up in recent weeks and struggled a little bit, they have a chance. But from Aberdeen's point of view, they'll be thinking, listen, we are where we are in the league, we deserve to be here, and this is a team that we should be beating, looking at the kind of league table. So, yeah, Hibs will be confident, but so will Aberdeen. I think that will be a high-scoring game, to be honest.
The last one was a cracker, wasn't it?
Oh, it was brilliant. Yeah. Oh, that was incredible. Because are you going to try and recreate Esther Sockler's overhead kick?
If we can get me up to Aberdeen around Christmas, yeah, why not?
I hope you've been doing your yoga.
I know. I'll go on your shoulders a bit. Yeah.
Actually, really keen to get your thoughts on this to see where you stand on this modern football speak, because I'll just out on Graham, who works behind the scenes here, is very keen to find out what you make of the fact that actually Aberdeen were just outperforming their XG all along and have now regressed to the mean.
XG lads, I know you're not keen on the
What's
XG
wrong with that?
chat.
They've regressed to the mean.
PPDA, I like that one.
I just keep saying it. I've been practicing it. Regress to the mean. I don't really know what it means.
Actually, it's not
No?
for me.
Why?
No?
Nah, not for me.
You
at
bang
all.
on about shots on target a bit, making no
What,
sense
for
at
me
all.
personally?
Well, not for you.
Nah.
Anyway, I think the gist of it is some people would say this dip,
Outperforming
if you
their
call it
XG.
that, was
That's insane.
was coming, if you like. That would be it in simple terms. Is that fair?
No, because I played in a team as well. I'm talking about XG, and we were scoring more goals than people say we should deserve to score. But you get out of the game what you deserve. For me, so all this XG and they're outperforming.
I don't think it's about saying you don't deserve to score, but I think it just means that when you play 10 games, fine, but then once you play 20, 30 games, you'll just see that come down. Those results will even out a bit.
Still, I'm not buying it.
I don't really care much either. I just fancy an argument, but
I just fancy an argument.
are Aberdeen starting to, like we say, just come to a more sort of normal performance level? Whereas at the start, you have to seriously ask, were they ever going to keep that up?
No, I think in terms of if you look at where they were last year, how they started the season was fantastic, and obviously we were all looking forward to see how that would look throughout the season. But you're in a period in December, which is the hardest part of the season for most teams. If you can come through that, like we spoke a bit earlier, and pick up more points than you probably expect to, that sets you up for the second half of the season. So this is a huge game for Aberdeen. Like we said, last time the two of them played, fantastic game, but they need to get back to winning ways for me.
Speaking of Hibs though, how much credit do you take for Elie Youan's
Great question.
uptick in form?
Yeah, he's got a golden assistant.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
He's flying.
He sent you any more selfies?
No more. Not since the.
Who can do more
man of the
keepy
match
uppies,
one.
Marvin Bartley or Elie Youan? That's the
Scott would be
competition.
my stunt double for that.
We need to get going between now and then.
Who can do more keep ups? Elie Youan, obviously. Yeah.
What do you mean? Obviously.
Keep up. Well, you tackled people.
This is how the whole argument started, remember? Because he was doing keepy ups at the sending
I
off.
know, but I understand why you said that.
Are you taking credit for his
Yeah, definitely.
upturn?
Took credit for Aberdeen starting the way they did, because I said they'll be bottom six, and they've done well. And Elie Youan now has came to the fore with a goal and assist in the recent games.
No more
I wonder what the
communication.
next exclusive will be from Marv that predicts the future.
No more communication. None at all. I might send him a message though if he gets a goal against Aberdeen. I'll send him like a little thumbs up, and he probably won't reply.
Probably not.
The Rangers Dundee game is just coming off the back, obviously, of the League Cup final. I think clearly Rangers fans go into these types of games now with a much higher expectation. If you can play the way you did against Spurs and you can play the way you did against Celtic, there's no excuse for a home game against Dundee. Is the way they'll see it. And then we said building up to the next meeting with Celtic. So what does that one look like?
Yeah, the fans will view it that way. But the most important thing for the Rangers players is playing against Spurs, playing against Celtic. It's very easy as a player to motivate yourself in those games, because they're both massive games. Playing against Celtic's always a massive game, obviously, and playing against Spurs, Celtic won't be in the cup final as well. These are your bread and butter, though. We've seen too many times this season where Rangers haven't been great against the lower teams and have really struggled, and the performances have been really, really poor. So I think this will kind of be an acid test for them. Can you continue that? Against a lesser team without being disrespectful to Dundee, a team you expected to beat. Can you really go and put them to the sword and score a fair few goals and put in a good performance?
I suppose it's almost harder sometimes, isn't it? Because, like you say, those other two games, big atmospheres. And we've seen it sometimes after their European games, they have maybe a bit more of a crash down to earth because
the
they're not
atmosphere
in
will
that
be more
heighted.
flat as well. In terms of the fact you have to get the fans off the seat for this game. The Spurs game, couldn't wait for it.
I think the Kilmarnock game maybe answered some of that though, because that would be seen like that. It's that type of fixture. And that was always the accusation that Rangers would maybe win these games, but it wouldn't be a classic.
Stumble over the line.
I think that's 6-0, and the fact that there is a slightly new look there, whether it's Eagleman or Hadji or various others coming in.
Yeah, I definitely think the new formation obviously suits Rangers. There's guys looking a lot more fluent, especially in attack. For me, I thought Hadji was excellent in the cup final in terms of out of possession as well. He's worked his socks off and just didn't quite get the wee moments in terms of getting a goal. But for me, Rangers Kilmarnock game was the kind of performance the Rangers fans have been looking for. They've been 1-0s, 2-1s, very close scores. So Rangers look that they're in a good place, albeit coming off the back of that defeat. But the players look a lot more freer in attack.
I think there's always a theory, if you like, that if Ross County find themselves nearer the bottom, it'll be their home form that keeps them up, if anything. I always hear people saying that. St Mirren, action-packed, by the way. What about that game at McDermott Park last week? They do get
some great passes in that game as well.
Get a rare win on the road. So, again, do you just look to that home form for Ross County as being the main tool they can use to survive?
I think as a players as well, you'll know that, how important the home games really are. Listen, you hope to get things on the road, but they'll have that kind of mentality thinking, right, this is another game, we're at home, no respect, St Mirren, a team who, we can, if we perform to our best, we can definitely beat them. So that's what they'll be looking for, because if that starts to dip that home form, they could find themselves in real trouble. And as players, that I've been at Livingston where we relied on our home form so much for one of the seasons. You know how important it is. So, yeah, it's a difficult one for St Mirren and one that Ross County will fancy.
Why is Ross County's home form so good, do you think? Is it because the away teams are going so far away? And is it mentally for you guys harder to get up for games away that are a lot further like that? Or is it just a thing that they're just better?
Because it just can't be, can it? It can't be that. You guys aren't that simple, are you?
Some of them are.
What did it? Because it's far away, it's difficult.
Not necessarily, but it's just like it's up in the Highlands. It's like
form?
maybe a siege mentality for them. They're like up there. They're the only club that are that far.
Yeah,
up north, I don't know. Is there something to that? I don't know.
There probably is small things that do play into it. Every time I play, it's been absolutely freezing as well, which it doesn't help me at all. But
you just hate the cold. No one else is that bothered about it.
It's never a game though where you go up and you know that you're going to have to really work to get a result.
You don't look forward to it.
Yeah, no, I would say that.
You don't look forward to it at all, and that works in their favour as well. And listen, they have good players. They've had good players across the years as well. So don't be disrespectful to them. But yeah, it's not a fixture that you look for on a fixture to be like, I fancy that. It's probably one of those you look for and think, oh no.
And why is their away form been so? Because when was the last time they won away? Wasn't it like 400 days or something?
No, it was a long time. It was in the 20s or 30s, the number of games when they went to Easter Road. I remember the stat from that day. So it's been a tough run. See, in terms of Sunday, when you look at Dundee United Celtic, the thing that we've not really mentioned yet is the fact that transfer windows round the corner and stuff like that. I wonder if you've seen, probably this morning really before we recorded, that Kieran Tierney linked with a return to Celtic. What do you make of that?
Firstly, I thought it was weird that the news coming out from Arsenal that he's not going to trigger his extension after him playing in the game yesterday. I just thought the timing was very, very strange. And should that have happened, he's always going to get linked back to Celtic. I just don't think financially at this moment in time it's a move that can happen. I think the wage cut would have to be absolutely massive. But there is one player that is going to come back to Celtic one day and play. It's definitely going to be him. But I just don't know if it'll be that next move.
I think though. I've heard that a number of times in the last few years. Surely with every passing year, every passing window, that becomes less of a factor.
I just think he's still too young. 27 years of age, is he still?
Yeah, it just feels like there's more mileage in it this time.
Do you feel that if he comes back now, that's him back?
Yeah.
And he doesn't go back down south?
Yeah, if he comes back now, I think that would be him.
So you still think there's a move in the Premier League somewhere for him in England?
Of course.
Arsenal. I would keep him at Arsenal. Yeah. I just don't think he's been given a fair crack at all. And yes, he's had his injury troubles, but when he's fit, I think he's absolutely brilliant. And there's this thing about inverted fullback. Let him do what he needs to do. He was brilliant for Arsenal yesterday against Palace, playing the way that he plays at fullback. So, yeah, I'm disappointed he's leaving Arsenal. And if he was to come to Celtic, obviously it's brilliant for the league, so I'd like that as well. But I just don't see it being his next move.
What do you think, Scott? Because it feels like there's just always been a notion that it will happen eventually.
Yeah.
So whether it's right at the end of the career, whether it's now, do you not feel like we're maybe moving towards a time where it gets more likely?
Yeah, I think maybe in terms of where he's at in his journey, he's obviously had a lot of injuries and he might just want that little bit of home comforts, as you would say, which he has with Celtic, and obviously his family back here. That might be the reason that he maybe engineers a move back here. But I'm in the same camp as Marv. I think he's still got a lot more to give down in England, and we'd like to see him at another Premier League club.
And what do you make of maybe Celtic's left back spot then? Because if Kieran Tierney comes back, Still got Greg Taylor, Vai on loan. What happens there?
Kieran Tierney comes back, he's playing. Don't worry about that.
But obviously, I think Greg Taylor. Fans are a little bit giving him a bit. Oh yeah, of course, that's true.
And even if he signs a new one, a very good player. But Kieran Tierney comes back, he's playing left back for any team in Scotland. If you're another left back at the club that he goes to, then it's just one of those things you become number 2 choice.
Come on, Mr. YouTube, tell them to comment below. Celtic fans, would you take Kieran Tierney back?
Go on, you heard him. Yep. Comment below. Would you take him back? Would you keep Greg Taylor?
They don't
for
listen
another
to me
year?
though. You have to say it.
Yeah, they'll know, mate. Comment below. Kieran Tierney, would you take him?
I think you're more interested to
I reckon
say
they'd obviously take him
below if you wouldn't take him, because I think every Celtic fan,
Yeah, of course he would.
surely would take him. I want him to stay at Arsenal, so it'd be interesting.
Listen, Mr. Arsenal, he's Mr. Hibs 2 minutes ago.
Arsenal.
It'll be Bournemouth and whoever else. Where he from? Reading or something.
Reading, yeah.
More
League
My
One.
neck of the woods, yeah. Nice.
knows what to do with. And of course, Hearts St Johnstone. Then can we dust off the old phrase? Is this the first proper 6-pointer of the season? Are we calling it that?
I think so, yeah. Huge game for Hearts. Shanklin back this weekend, yeah?
He was suspended
Yeah,
last
so
week,
Shanklin
wasn't he?
back.
They've got Europe midweek before that as well.
I know. I think when you genuinely take Lon Shanklin out of the team, you see how valuable he is to this team. They didn't have a focal point against Kilmarnock. They were kind of struggling for ideas in terms of a creative sense. Danda comes on at half time, just can't quite find that creative spark. So this is a huge game for Hearts, and I think they've got the derby the following week as well at home. So it's a big couple of weeks for Hearts.
I don't know if you just ask this every week until somebody says yes, then now is the time. The Hearts fans need to be thinking about relegation or a relegation battle.
Yeah, I think so. Hearts has been a weird one for me because Neil Critchley came in and I thought, on the ball definitely there was a new structure to them. You could see what they're trying to do, and it seems over the weeks that's just gone away.
He had a good start, didn't he? First couple of weeks were
exactly.
It's flatlined.
Yeah, it really, really has. And, you look at the last game, as Scotty said earlier in the show against Kilmarnock, they just looked kind of clueless on the ball. It didn't really look like they had a plan of what they were trying to do, what they were trying to achieve.
It's like a hope that somebody's going to produce a moment of magic.
How can it change so much in one season though? Because obviously they were so good last season. Shanklin's goals maybe dried up a bit, but like I say, on the ball, they
and stuff.
XG, bring up the stats.
You're looking at them when they're bringing in Spittle and Danda, who obviously had really good seasons at their respective clubs. You're looking at them at the start of the season going, you think Hearts will be excellent this year? And it's just...
I think there's a lack of running power in that team though.
See, on that then, if you're talking about recruitment and what it lacks, do you get the sense that Hearts as a club are just trying to tread water until the window opens? Because one thing that would be entirely different for Hearts compared to potential other relegation rivals would be budget. I mean, you look at, and Hearts are still in Europe. They might even improve their position in Europe. There is surely going to be scope there to make massive alterations if they want. I'm not saying, what do you always hear? It's a difficult window, whatever that means. But
and it's their first one since having the supercomputer, as you've called it, I think, once or twice.
The algorithm's going to bring them in the.
But it's in the players, players in the positive position in terms of anyone going into Hearts now, because football is a situation. If you want to sign me and you're struggling in the league, you're gonna have to pay me more money because you don't want to fall out of the league. So if Hearts were third in the league, fourth in the league, you probably end up paying me less as a player coming in. Now, where they sit in the league at this moment in time, as you said, they're trying to tread water. They need to sign players. So it becomes a little bit more desperate because, they can't be where they are in the league, come the end of the season, obviously, because they'll be relegated. So players are in power now, which is a weird situation. A lot of fans will be like, well, what do you mean by that? And that's what I've just explained there. Players will be asking for more money now to go to Hearts. And also, if they go down, I don't want a relegation because I've only been here for half of the season. So I'm not willing, and they'll lose out on players through just that.
But like we said, if you are one of the other relegation, or the typical relegation candidates, the so-called smaller clubs, you'll also know that Hearts have got that capability, surely, to go and try and make a difference. A club that's qualified for Europe, that's a big thing. Group stage football, that earns you a lot of money.
Yeah, listen, I think we're going to see a completely different type of transfer window for Hearts that we've seen previously, which, with the way things look, I don't think the manager's going to have a massive say in terms of the profile of players they get in. I think there's going to be obviously that supercomputer that you speak about, and guys who they think come in fit a system. So I think it is a big January for Hearts, but you look at the players in their squad, and for me, I always think when you have the players, they will get out of trouble.
Championship looks good.
Championship does look good.
Big
look
week
at the
as
fixtures.
well.
Yep.
Friday night football.
Another Friday night game.
Spoiled for choice.
I know we are. Love this time of year. So much.
You should
football.
go to that. That's not even far for your
Queen's
Friday
Park
night. And
Rafe
then branch
at
out
Hampden
on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see. But obviously, Livi have been doing well in the Championship at the moment. You're former club
Mr.
Marv.
Livi.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Is there a title charge on? I mean, everyone's eyes were on Falkirk. The gap, what is it, 2 points? It's very close, isn't
2
it?
points now. Yeah, listen, I think Livingston were confident going into this season. I think David's spoken about, and he spoke about budget last season. They had one of the lower ones.
Did he?
And this season, they've probably got the biggest budget in that league. So I think he was always expecting to be at the top end of it.
You'll be in trouble for saying that.
You've outed him.
So yeah, listen, they've been absolutely brilliant. You still have to go and win games of football. You know, that's the most important thing. And defensively, they've been really strong and they've been scoring a fair few goals these last few weeks. So yeah, title challenge is definitely on against difficult air on Saturday. Though.
Must be nice for them just to be able to play a bit more attacking football and just be a bit more free than what. Obviously, you want to be at the top league, don't you? But still, it's like
some of the players have said that. When they played in the top league, it was like you touch the ball once every 10 minutes, and it's almost like now they've had the opportunity to go and actually play, and attackers have the opportunity to attack rather than just kind of defending from the front. So. Yes, relegation is hard, but I think the players and fans are definitely enjoying this season so far.
Do you not think it's just that they've shaken off the memory of that ultra defensive coach they used to have?
maybe it could be that.
We're in the Premier
Finally
now.
lost. Yeah, true. They're in the top division
this
then.
weekend, not Air United.
The guy who was responsible for putting the ball up the pitch.
Yeah,
Long throws.
Let's
looking
blame him.
down the table.
What
as
else
well.
jumps out
Airdrie
for you? I
struggling.
mean, Airdrie again. Talk about Hearts being different to last season.
They got 5 points.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had a real bad, first quarter or whatever it is, first third of the season. It doesn't get any easier. Partick Thistle will be on the back of obviously playing against Livingston. They were disappointed with that result. So yeah, Airdrie, it's been a real turn, and this is the thing with management, right? Reece McCabe was getting linked with absolutely everything.
He was getting linked to Hibs, wasn't he, in the start of the
Hibs
season?
and Aberdeen at a point as well. And now the fans want him out, and there has to be a little bit of patience, definitely, because no team has a divine right to do anything in any of these leagues. The Championship's such a tight one, and I know they would have looked at Airdrie this season thinking there's no real big hitter in that league, really, and we have a chance, and they found themselves in last place. But hopefully they can start to turn it around, because as I said, as a young Scottish manager, you want to see him do well. Yeah,
and Scott Brown at Ayr United as well. What have you made of them? Because they obviously had a great start, but they've maybe just sort of found their place in the playoffs there.
Yeah, and they're another team, I think, when you go into January window.
Picked up again, though, haven't they, I suppose?
Yeah.
Maybe if you look at the last...
beat Falkirk, didn't they? Falkirk going down to 10 men, and was it 5-2 or whatever it was in that game? So
got that overturned, though, didn't they? The red card, Falkirk.
Have they?
Maybe feeling a bit aggrieved.
Falkirk for me are the team. They're the team
You
in
just
the
like watching them
Championship.
play the most football.
Of course, but that's why they sit at the top of the tree, Marv, at this moment in time.
What about Mr. League One? I'm glad we've got a representative.
Of course, loving it. Kelty Hearts as well, yeah.
I'm right on the league table coming up the other day.
It's a tight league to call this year, League One, isn't it? So
Look at this. Former Queen of the South manager.
Oh, wow, so you're playing...
There we go.
Current Kelty
Hearts
midfielder.
player.
It's like we handpicked him purely for this. What, 7 points between about 7 teams? It's an incredible league.
Honestly, I can't sit here and call it. What happens week in, week out in that league is...
Do you genuinely all feel like you're in a title race then? Is it anybody's?
Yeah, I think... Obviously, David Gold, who I'm really close with, he's the manager at Arbroath now. Somebody I've known a long time. We played them the other night, and it was a huge win for us. I think if Arbroath beat Kelty the other night, they would have been 8 points clear, so that's now down to 2.
What a turning fortunes for them as well, since the change of manager start of the season. They've just absolutely flown up the table.
Yeah, and that's where you're at. So from a team potentially going 8 points clear, it's down to 2, so you just can't call it. Inverness, obviously, they have their troubles as well as Dumbarton, but for me, Arbroath probably would still probably be the favourites.
How are you finding it? Is that you back in the team? I'm trying to remember on your previous appearance on the warm-up. Did you have
the cast, didn't
your
you?
broken
The
wrist?
Did I have the wrist? Yeah.
I think you probably did. There's always something.
always something.
There is always something. So you
Put
came
me
on
down.
the other night. Are you still dealing with all that stuff at this stage of your career? Is it harder? Because I'm trying to put this in not be too blunt about it. You don't have, I've got 10 more years to get over this stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, is it harder? It is a strange, having the broken wrist, obviously, and you're 33 now, at obviously a part-time club, and you don't have the same coming in every day. It is a bit different. You're looking after yourself, whereas previously at clubs I've been at, the physio and the medical staff would look after you. So it is difficult. I can't say it's not, but I've really enjoyed my time there. We play a good brand of football. I think we scored the most goals in the league. Don't quote me on that, because it's not. But I think we have.
But you're competing in that league with a couple of full-time teams. So
yeah, we've got some really bright players. Obviously, the boy Sam Harden, who's came from Dundee United. I'm a big fan of centre back, and
Should United fans be excited about
they
him?
should be. Yeah, I think
At the end of the season, though, not in January.
Not in January, no, we want to keep him.
Keep him waiting.
And Jacob McIntyre, who the last couple of weeks we've found a position for him, he's been a real positive for us and got a double the other night. So listen, we're quietly confident. We just take week by week.
Good news for you is you have scored the most goals in the league.
Yes.
You can confirm that. So you don't need
He's
to
right, yeah.
edit that bit out. And in League 2, it's all about the basement battle, isn't it?
Yeah, Clyde 4th, isn't it, this week, bottom 2?
Clyde 4 for bottom 2.
Clyde at the start of the season, everybody.
Favourites.
Favourites,
Some
everybody.
of the players they signed you thought were above that league and they just find themselves struggling. It's such a strange one.
What do you think it is? Do you think it's a lack of identity? They're playing at Hamilton, not really much of a fan base, going from Glasgow to Cumbernauld for years and then back to Hamilton. It's
I
like,
think
how
it's
do
a
you...
lack of football identity. I watched them a couple of games earlier on in the season, and I know it's League 2, but some of the stuff I was seeing was bizarre to say the least. So, yeah, they've obviously got a new manager in now, and I think he's starting to get some of his players back as well, because I think Imako had a few players out injured and stuff. So, yeah, listen, they shouldn't be where they are in the league. Not the money that they're spending.
Yeah, they
they're
are.
expected to be at the other end because the budget is very, very healthy there.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to this. We're going to do some mid-season, almost, sort of predictions.
Nice.
It's Christmas time. Let's have a bit of fun. Let's see.
We're
Because
halfway through the season.
You've now got a good bit of knowledge behind you.
Yeah.
You've got decent amount of games to look back on. So both of you, give us your Premiership winner.
Celtic.
Not
Celtic.
changed since the start of the season.
No.
Okay.
Probably only got stronger.
Who's on Santa's naughty list? Relegation.
Ross County.
Is that a hard question?
That is a hard question, yeah.
It is a difficult one, yeah. I probably would go Ross County over St John. I just think St Johnstone at the top end got goal scorers.
Hibs fully out of it now for you?
Oh, they too would say that.
Yeah.
I think
They're in a battle,
yeah.
definitely the same as Hearts, but I wouldn't expect either of those two teams to go down over the course of the whole season.
Okay. Championship winner?
Falkirk.
You need to be
Livingston.
careful. Right.
You say Falkirk?
Yeah.
You going Livy?
He'll be waiting for you out there. Yeah, Livi, mate.
Shocked. League One winner?
I need to say Kelty.
Of course you do.
Okay.
What are you going to say?
Arbroath.
Sorry, Scott.
That's shocking.
I don't want to put too much pressure on you, man.
That's fine.
In case you feel a presence again and start to plot.
League Two winner?
that.
Peterhead.
Yeah.
Elgin.
Elgin, yeah, they're doing
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Elgin.
Yeah.
They beat us the other
I
week
like that.
in the Scottish Cup.
That's what I chose them. I'm joking.
And Scottish Cup winner?
Oh, the cup's always
That's
hard,
hard, isn't
man. Yeah, the cup's always hard.
I'll go Celtic.
Yeah.
So you've gone a Celtic treble then?
Yeah, I'm going to go Celtic.
It's hard to look past
I'm
them.
gonna go Celtic,
And
yeah.
then
So
big games, they
difficult.
get it over the line. Don't
I like the
they?
way you
Even
think- I like that you're thinking about if you've gone for the treble, because they've won the League Cup already. You said for the league, and you said the Scottish Cup. Yeah.
It's very hard to sit here and say anyone
else.
outside that, because the style of play and the players they have.
And I'm not sure if this was on your questions, but can I just throw one more in there?
Listen, this is about freestyling as far as I'm
clearly,
concerned.
I want Golden Boot winner as well in the Premiership.
Oh, good luck with that.
Sam Dolby.
Think he can keep it up?
Nah,
What do you mean? No, you said it.
wow, he's giving the golden boot and taking it straight back.
I'm putting him out.
He's
there,
thinking
mate.
out loud.
He's
I think
doing
putting him out
really
there's
well.
good. Like he's
Yeah, he's
top right
doing
now,
really
isn't he?
well. Golden Boot winner.
That's a tough one this season. There's no obvious
No.
striker who's just.
Do you know what to do? Say Lawrence Shankland and see if it doesn't work. No one's going to care. But if you get that
I'm
right
going Kyogo.
from this position, you look like the smartest
Kyogo.
kid in the class.
Let's go Sam Dolby.
Sam Dolby and Kyogo.
I'm going Kyogo.
I think eventually Kyogo will just surely
I
hit a
think the
run.
amount of chances he's going to get and stuff.
Really?
Igman's done well for.
Obviously
Rangers,
staying
but just-
injury free, of course.
Yeah.
And that is us. Enjoyed that. Thank you very much to Marvin Bartley and to Scott Allan. Festive football is upon us. Plenty to look forward to.
Yep, it is. Thanks for coming in, lads. You have to get your hat-trick balls at some point. But yeah, we've got some Christmas specials. We've got a Christmas special, a New Year special, big
New Year
derbies.
special on the 30th. That's a derby
Yep.
special. We've got a Christmas special with some shocking Christmas jumpers before then. Really don't want to see mine back.
Yep, you don't want to miss
I have
that.
to
So make sure you subscribe, hit the like button on this episode as well, and we'll see you very soon.
See you next time.